new subject. Okay. And the title of the subject is control system and components. Control system and components. Okay. So in the previous class, I have discussed about the course structure of this particular subject. What are the various chapters we have here, and what we have to cover. Okay. So today in this subject, we are going to cover the introduction part of a control system. Introduction. Okay. Introduction part. Then system characteristics, system response characteristics, system response characteristics, and the system configuration. Okay, system configuration. So these 3 points I am trying to cover in today's lecture. So moving on to introduction, see we can say in introduction part we are going to define what is a control system. Okay, what is a control system? See, control system means its objective is to control something. Its objective, the system is there to control the process. The system is there to control the process. So we can define a system which controls the process is a control system in a very simpler manner. Okay, a system which can control the process is termed as a control system. Now, what is the requirement of control a process? Why we require to control a process? If we think this thing in a very deep sense, we can say if we want a desired output, in that case we have to control the process. What I am trying to say, a process is going on there, and during that process, if we want something accurately what we want, in that case whatever the input provide to that system, that has to be controlled during the process. Okay, so if we do that, we can able to get the desired output. Take for example, a vehicle is in at rest position. Okay, a vehicle is in at rest position, and our objective is we have to move that vehicle in with a speed of 100 km per hour in a highway. Okay, so initially it is in it is in rest position. In that rest position, or in that rest position, we can say the speed of the vehicle traveling is 0 with respect to time. So, but our objective is to move that vehicle in with a speed of 100 km. Now, when we start that vehicle and trying to move that vehicle on the road, all of a sudden we won't able to reach the speed of 100 km. Gradually it will reach to the velocity of 100 km or the speed of 100 km. Now once it reaches to the velocity of 100 km, after that we have to if that process is going on, we have to push that accelerator in that same manner from 0 to 100 km. After reaching to that 100 km, and the you just put the pedal in that same pressure, then maybe that 100 km speed is gradually increasing after 100 km, isn't it? So in that case, after reaching 100 km, we have to control the speed. So to control the speed, we have to remove the pedal, pressure gradually from the accelerator pedal, or you can say you have to apply some brake to control the speed in that particular level. So in this case you can say to maintain that speed you require some acceleration system, or you require some braking system, isn't it? But normally the vehicle is moving, and it is the speed is gradually increasing, isn't it? From 0 to towards 100 km, and if the velocity is going on increasing and increasing and increasing, we can't say that after reaching to the 100 km it will maintain the same speed. So to maintain the same speed we require the control, required some control over the vehicle movement. So these control aids are like the accelerator, or you can say the braking system. So by applying some braking system we can able to slow the vehicle. By putting the acceleration system into the axle, we can increase the speed of the vehicle. These are the normal concept, you can say. But what actually control system does, a system is there, a system is working over there, and we require something from the system, and control system help us to get our desired output from the process. This is the only thing. One more example I can say. See, let's say we are in we are approaching to a building, and here is the lift. Here is the lift, or you can say elevator, and by using this elevator we have to move to the fourth floor. We have to move to the fourth floor of the building. Okay, move to the fourth floor of the building, and the elevator is at ground floor. The elevator is at ground floor, and we have to move to the fourth floor of the building. Fourth floor of the building, and we are at ground floor. Now, when we approach to the elevator, the lift is at ground floor, and our objective is to reach to fourth floor of that particular building. And when we approach to the lift and we enter to the lift, we just press the button inside the lift, which is made for fourth floor, isn't it? Now, once we press that button, we provide a input. We provide an input to the system. That input is what? Fourth floor of the building. But physically, in that particular time, where is that lift is? The lift is at ground floor. But we have provided input to that system, that is the fourth floor of the building. Now, here is a difference. Here is a difference between our desired input and the actual input of the system. Our desired input is what? The fourth floor of the building, but the actual input to that system is the ground floor. Now, this is the difference between the desired input and the actual input. Now, once we provide the desired input to the system starts to work to approach that particular desired to reach to the particular desired floor in this particular case, isn't it? So in this case we can say once we put that button of fourth floor, the lift moves upward, starts to moving upward. Now this is an ongoing process. Lift is moving upwards, but lift doesn't know where to stop. Lift doesn't know where to stop because lift is moving what? With the motor, and the motor got started and it moving to upward. Now, how a lift can able to know this particular force has been arrived during its movement towards the upward? How a lift able to know whether the lift is at fourth floor, or the lift is at third floor, or the lift is at second floor? Once it reaches to the fourth floor, then it will stops moving upward, isn't it? So Once we put the button, lift starts to move upward. Now how lift will stop there? To stop that lift in that particular fourth floor, control system works. So control system what actually doing here? When see, we have two inputs here. One is your actual input and another is desired input. Now the difference between desired and actual input has been compared. The control system just continuously compare the difference between the actual input and the desired input. When actual input match with the desired input, then during this comparison process, then this system will stop to work and it will reach to its destination. Okay, and we can able to reach to the fourth floor. This is a common idea regarding the control system. So we can say in a very a brief manner, if control system is represented through a block, let's say this block represents the control system. This block represents the control system. And we provide an input here. This input is the input to the system, and you can say this is the stimulus also. This is the stimulus, and this is what our desired input. What actually we want from the process. And whatever the output here in the system, that is the actual input. Or you can say this is the output of the control system or the response of the control system. So here in this particular case, we can say when we approach to that building building's lift to approach to the fourth floor, and the lift is at ground floor. In that case, we can say the input or the stimulus or the desired input, whatever you say, those are what? That is ground floor. But the output, that is fourth floor, because we desire what is our desiredness? We have to reach to fourth floor by using that lift, but the lift is at ground floor. So the desired input is, or the stimulus is, or the input to the system, that is fourth floor. But the actual input is what? The actual position of the system. The actual position of the system is ground floor, or you can say the output of the system is ground floor, and the response of the system is also ground floor. Now, the difference between the desired input, that is ground floor, and the actual input, that is desired input, that is fourth floor, and the actual input, that is ground floor, this has to be compared by the control system continuously. Once the actually during the moving procedure, when the lift is moving upward, a time comes when the desired lift will reach to what? The first floor. Then the difference between the actual input and the desired input getting reduced, because now the actual input become what? First floor, and the desired input become what? That is fixed, that is fourth floor, isn't it? And it is moving on. A time comes again, the lift will reach to the second floor. The desired input is fourth floor, and the actual input is second floor. Again, the difference between these two inputs are getting reduced. Next, when the lift will reach to The difference between the desired input and the actual input again reduced. And when the lift will approach to fourth floor, then the actual input is also fourth floor and the desired input, that is also fourth floor. Now the lift will stop to work because our destination is there. So no need to go further. So in that case, control system, when this elevator approach to fourth floor, the control system put some brake or provide some brakes, or it try to halt that movement of that elevator in that particular fourth floor, and we can able to reach there. Okay, this is a simple concept how control system works. The concept is what? We are providing some input to that system, which is our desired input, and but the actual input to the system is something different, and the control systems wants to match these two input. When these two inputs match accurately, we can able to get our desired input. Okay, this is a basic idea regarding control system, or you can say control system is a system or a process which help us to achieve our desired inputs from a system. Okay, now come to system response characteristics. System response characteristics means response means its output. And control system's output, and the characteristics of the control system's output. In this particular case, in system response characteristic, we are going to discuss about the output characteristic of a control system. Okay, and we are taking the same example of that elevator. Okay, we are going to take the same example. We are in that ground floor and we have to move to fourth floor by using the lift of that particular building. Okay, we have to use that same example so that we can able to understand the characteristic in a very clear manner. Okay, now in this system response characteristics, we have to take two axes. Okay, we have to take two axes, x and y. X axis represents time. And y axis represent the position of the lift. Okay, y axis represent the position of the lift. Now, what is our objective? Let's say this is your ground floor. Okay, this is first floor, this is second floor, this is third floor, and this is fourth floor. Our objective is what? We have to move to fourth floor, isn't it? We have to move to fourth floor by using this lift, which is at where? Ground floor. So we can say this 0 or the ground floor is what? The ground floor is our actual input, that is what? Ground floor, isn't it? Now, what is our desired input? That is fourth floor, isn't it? This is 0, this is first, this is second, this is third, and this is fourth. Getting my point? So when we approach to inside the lift, approach to the inside area of lift, and the moment we push the button of fourth floor, that is at 0 instant of time. At 0 instant of time, we are providing the desired input to the system, that is fourth floor, which is represented here by this line. Okay, but at that particular zero instant of time, what is the actual input to the system? The actual input to the system is, the elevator system is ground floor, isn't it? Now, at this particular instant, which instant? At zero instant of time, the difference between this actual input and the desired input is what? We are at ground floor and our desired floor is fourth floor. This is the difference. And once we provide the desired input there, the elevator starts work, and it try to, by taking, see, the moment we push the button, all of a sudden we won't able to reach the fourth floor, isn't it? The elevator must take time to bring us to the fourth floor. It will take some time now. You got my point? It will take some time to take us from ground floor to fourth floor, isn't it? So during that time span, the lift starts to move from ground floor towards fourth floor, and once it reaches towards fourth floor, it will stop there, isn't it? So here, so we can say this with respect to time. This lift will operate like this. Initially, it is ground floor. After some time, it will approach to first floor. After some time, it will approach to second floor, then third floor. Then ultimately, it will come to at a particular instant of time. It will come to what? Fourth floor, isn't it? Now, if this is our desired input, here this lift will stop. Here the lift will stop. Let's say this particular instant of time is Tn. This particular instant of time Tn. So we can say, and the time is continue. After this Tn, lift is not moving upward. Lift will not move upward unless and until another person will require to use that lift. Another person will give some desired input to that lift. We have to move to 6th floor or ground floor or something like that, or else the lift will be at rest. So we can say from 0 to Tn, the position, the actual position of the lift will change. Is in a changing manner. The position is changing now from 0 to Tn, and this is for a particular instant of time, isn't it? After this Tn, the position of lift is fixed, because we don't need to go somewhere else after that. Our desiredness is what? We have to reach to that fourth floor. Now here, from Tn to after this Tn, it is the position of the lift is not changing. It is what? Stable there. So we can say or you can say this is a steady state condition, isn't it? Lift becomes steady here. But this particular case this is something like transient. This is something like transient. So that's why initially the behavior of a control system, unless and until the time, for a particular period of time, there is a transient response of a control system, which because of that transient response we can able to reach what, or we can able to get our whatever we want from that control system. In this case, it is what we have to reach to fourth floor. Because of this transient system, we can able to reach. But if that lift will not stop there, we won't able to stay at fourth floor, isn't it? So for that, to stop that lift at fourth floor, we require this steady state behavior also. Once we get our desired input from the control system, we require that steady state behavior. So this particular system response characteristic comprises of two basic characteristic. One is what? Transient response. This is steady state response. I think you all got my point, isn't it? So this is what about the system response of a control system. System response having two parts. One is transient part, which is for a limited period of time to bring this actual input to the level of desired input. Then to maintain that desired input at that particular level, steady state response is there. Clear? Or you have any doubt? Okay. So after this, the last part is for today's lecture. This is what? System configuration. So primarily, control system has two basic configurations. These are basically one is open loop and the other one is closed loop. Closed loop configuration. Now, in the few time back, I have drawn a block diagram of a control system. A single block is there. Okay. This particular single block represents the open loop configuration of a control system. But if we enter into this single block, again we are going to found two sub blocks is there. Two sub blocks is there. One is controller and the second block is the process. Okay. One is controller, the second one is the process, and this is control system. This is control system, and this particular configuration is open loop. Open loop. We have our stimulus, or you can say the desired input to the system, and here it is response. Or you can say output of the system. So this is what the block diagram of a open loop configuration control system, which is in open loop configuration. Now, what is open loop configuration? So from this block diagram, we can understand if controller block is there, which is there to control the process, and process is what? See, if we provide some input to the system, the process will process to get to provide us our desired output. Provides us our desired output, and the role of the controller is to control the input. It's to control the input. By controlling the input, we can able to get the processed output as per our requirement. This is the concept behind open loop configuration. We can a very simpler example of a open loop control system is we all are having this in our homes. That is the immersion rod. We all have immersion rod now. Immersion rod is used to heat the water inside a bucket. You just put the rod inside the water bucket and plug it in a electric plug pipe. Put the switch on, and the rod will getting heated, and due to this that heat, by the time the water getting heated, isn't it? This is the simple process. But the heating is going on in this particular process. The heating is going on, but the immersion rod doesn't know when to stop. What at which kind of level of temperature the heating needs to be stopped, that the immersion rod doesn't know, isn't it? So that has to be done by a human observer. When we are able to see, yes, the water is getting evaporated from that bucket, and in that particular case we are switch off that block point, and we can able to get a certain amount of hot water in this particular case. And this is a very clear example of a open loop configuration. But the concept is what? Here the output, this particular output is the output of this particular system is independent of the previous output. Whatever the output we are getting, that output is not depending upon the output in no way. The output is depending upon the output. Okay. So this is a open loop configuration. If we put a slight modification here, in this particular open loop configuration, let's say it is a feedback. Here is a feedback path, and we are introducing a summer here. Now this particular configuration become a closed loop. Configuration. Now, what happens in closed loop configuration? Once we provide an input here, that input has to be controlled with the controller, then it will process, then it will provide some output at the output terminal. This output has to be compared with the desired input continuously. So when this output has been compared with the desired output by this block, continuously there is a difference between this desired input and the output of the process, and that difference is termed as error, and this block is termed as error detector. Okay. Now the objective of this controls of closed loop control system is to provide a continuous monitoring between this output and the desired input, and by monitoring this it will try to minimize the error. Once we get the minimum level of error in that particular instant of time, we can able to get our desired output. This is the concept of closed loop configuration. Okay, so for today's class, this much only. You just try to memorize the introduction part, then try to understand the system response configuration, and try to understand the concept of these two type of configuration. One is open loop and another is closed loop. These are very simple things, and in the next class we will go for the transfer function of a control system. Okay, so for today's class, this much only. Thank you.